Good afternoon everyone. I wanted to show you the incredible detail of Blackness Castle, which is located in Blackness in Scotland. Now, the detail is why these images take so long to edit basically, because in each of the images I'm working on different aspects. For example, in one layer here, I'm actually working on the saturation of the sky. Here I felt the saturation was way too much, so I've actually done a layer to decrease that saturation in the sky. And while doing that, it's actually meant that I have had to go around all of the detail of the castle in all of the areas. And then in another layer, I'm actually working on the brightness so that I can bring more attention to the castle itself. And again, in that area I have to go all around the edges to make sure it's all nice and even. And here in another area, that's basically again working on bringing attention to the detail in the castle. It is just absolutely, and this is one of the smaller ones, one of the less detailed ones that I've been working on. Now, where you need to be careful of is things like here, where, depending on where the sun hits, it will create what's called a rim light, which is, it can be, for example, see here. And if anyone didn't know about rim lights, people might make the mistake of thinking that me as a photographer has accidentally forgotten that and not filled it all the way in. So once I've done all the individual layers, I'll be covering that all in and filling it all in, and then I'll be creating a fake rim light all around the castle, and that will mean having to go all around the castle again. And and that's just basically what happens when the sun is hitting either a building or people, anything. Now, the reason why it's so important to be so detailed in Photoshop is this is essentially how Photoshop will see your image. Photoshop does not see the image as a beautiful castle with a gorgeous sky in the background and the bayside there. Photoshop will see your image as something like that. Obviously not so scattered, because here in the image the colours are more compacted in different areas. But essentially, because of the fact that we're working with pixels, let's pretend that each of those dots represent a pixel. So therefore, what Photoshop sees is, it'll see here a lot of dots of white pixels. In this area, for example, Photoshop will see a area of white dots of that blue pixels. Here we've got a mixture of colours, so therefore here it's going to be white, here it's going to be white, here it's going to be bluey grey, here it's going to be grey, and Photoshop will see that all the dots in those individual colours. So that's why it's so important to be as detailed as possible, and that's why these images bring about the challenge of it being quite time consuming, being how detailed these castles are. And it's really a reflection of the building of the castles at the time, and obviously the stone masonry that they've done. Now, leading back to Outlander, this is a very important image in Outlander. This window is where Jaime had actually heard Claire screaming inside, being attacked by Frank Randall. And this is the window ledge where you see Jaime jumping on it, saying, "I'll thank you to take your hands off my wife." And when Jack Randall laughed at him. And then once they made them escape, they came out here, they came all along this ledge here, jumping into this cliff, jumping into the water. And you'll remember that Claire's saying, "Are you sure that there's water in there?" And Jaime said, "I think so." So this is where those events happened. It was at Blackness Castle, depicting Wentworth Prison. Blackness Castle, as I mentioned, is in Blackness, and it's actually right next to South Queensferry, which is also where Mid-Hope Castle and also Hopeton House. So these locations are all very, very close together. Thanks for watching.